Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So earlier this week, there was this anonymous person blasting Warner Brothers claiming they used to work at the studio, talking specifically a lot about the Wonder Woman movie. So this is going to be a breakdown of what's going on and why that's all bullcrap. So you may have heard that someone was blasting Warner Brothers and saying there was a big mess in general with all of their films behind the scenes. They were particularly singling out Wonder Woman because that's like the upcoming DC movie. But from the things that it talks about and the things that it leaves out, it sounds like this was like a relatively low-level person, like an intern working for someone who was way down on the totem pole, because they really don't get into specifics when they talk about some of the problems behind the scenes. They don't even mention Jeff Johns once, so they don't talk about any of the things that have changed as a result of the dissatisfaction that people have expressed with some of the previous DC films this year. So the only one in any official capacity, from the other side of the firing line that has said anything about this or reacted to it is Patty Jenkins, the director of the Wonder Woman movie, who is like, who acts kind of like you woke her up in the middle of the night like, wait, what? What the hell is going on? This is bullshit. Get out of here. So just to clarify what's going on with the Wonder Woman movie and what's going on behind the scenes at Warner Brothers now. So Wonder Woman right now is still in like work print form. Like everything that they've shot is all crammed together in one massive edit. So it's like 4.5 hours long. They have to cut it down to what will eventually be the theatrical run. That's just like a long process. It takes a long time to cut that down. There'll be a bunch of different cuts of the film as they test it with audiences. It's the same thing with every single film in the history of filmmaking. So like a lot of the stuff that was said about the film being a mess doesn't really address that. It just says the film is a mess. Well, all films are messes until an editor comes in and works their magic and turns it into something that you or I might go see in a movie theater that makes sense. So the Wonder Woman movie, I think, is going to go a long way to address a lot of the complaints that people who have been dissatisfied with DC movies, whether or not you've liked the last couple of DC movies. Wonder Woman is like a shift in tone for the films just because the Wonder Woman character comes from a very different place than Batman. Batman is a very dark character. Wonder Woman has a lot of dark things going on in her life, but she's kind of like this symbol of hope. So, that's why it's very easy for them to do the film during World War I, because there's people dying everywhere. The earth has been torn up with trench warfare. Just everything is a complete mess. So she steps in to try and fix everything. So that, you're going to get that general sense from the tone of the film too. She'll have a very calming presence on all the angry bros. So that'll be happening in like a metaphorical way with the fandom, in a literal way in the context of the film. So it feels like this big fan letter that everyone's been talking about is really just that. It's like a fan who was like an intern or like a low-level grunt at Warner Brothers who is dissatisfied with the previous films and is just trying to vent their frustrations without really having any general knowledge of what's actually going on. So in general, I would just treat this like the crying baby on the airplane that you're just forced to sit next to for like the next half hour. You just like put your headphones in, just ignore it. It's just complete bullshit. So what's going to happen in the next couple of months is you will continue to see new Wonder Woman trailers because Wonder Woman's not coming till next summer. So there'll be plenty more marketing in the spring. Typically when they get within a couple months of a movie coming out, that's when they really start marketing films. So that's still a long ways off. By that time, they'll have a much stronger cut of the film. You'll start hearing a lot more about it, as well as the other films that will follow, like Justice League. Like typically when studios are really afraid of films, they won't let journalists anywhere near it. They won't do advanced screenings. They'll embargo certain types of coverage for a film until after it's released. So just to show how confident they are in the stuff that's coming, Warner Brothers had journalists to the set of Justice League and they watched a scene get filmed months before Comic-Con happened. And part of the scene that they got to see was what ended up in that Justice League trailer from Comic-Con. So I'll put a link to that at the end of this, but they're just so confident in the stuff that they're working on that they gave you the work print version of the trailer. Like it's not super polished like a normal trailer would be. It's just like, here's the footage that we shot. We kind of cut this together in a really quick way. It's just a taste for what is coming. And really, I think like the big purpose of that was just to let you know what the tone of the film is going to be. The characters are starting to feel more like the characters that you remember from the comics, which I feel like was one of the big complaints against Batman v Superman, was that even though Batman felt like an amazing version of Batman, Superman did not feel like Superman. So it's just like a little course correction on some of the more hopeful characters in the DC universe. And based on this, it seems like that's what's happened. Obviously we haven't seen Superman back yet because officially they're still trying to keep that mystery up of, what his his status is, but they basically said that he's part of the Justice League in the comics. Of course he's going to come back in Justice League at some point. But hopefully that clears up why people have been blasting Warner Brothers, because of this anonymous letter. Very circumspect. So I would just treat it like bullshit gossip. You can totally ignore it. Don't worry about it. They still have a long time before Wonder Woman is actually going to be finished, before it's going to be the film that you will see in theaters, as well as Justice League. Like, they're still filming Justice League right now. And remember that when they're editing films, there will typically be 3 or 4 different cuts of a film, at least especially the really big films, that they'll test with different audiences just to see how people react to certain parts of the film. Like when they were making Guardians of the Galaxy, they said there was even like a cut of the film that didn't have any jokes in it. If you could imagine that, like a weird cut of Guardians of the Galaxy that was supposed to be very not funny. So like if somebody saw that cut of the film and then said, oh my God, Guardians of the Galaxy is a complete mess, there's no jokes in it, you wouldn't have any understanding of what the final film looked like, which wound up being one of the most funny Marvel films that's been made so far. So if you couldn't tell, I'm very excited about Wonder Woman. There's going to be another trailer, but it probably won't drop for at least another month or 2. So in the meantime, there is a new round of the giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. There'll be a bunch of DC, bunch of Marvel next week, and there's supposed to be a Walking Dead preview tonight. So if they talk about anything interesting, I will totally do a Walking Dead video on Monday. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here to watch that Wonder Woman trailer again, and you can click here to watch the Justice League trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.